say what's up to the Treefort video we're putting together.
What's up? We here. We live. It's Treefort 2024. If you're not here, you're asleep. We better see you next year.
Damn straight.
We'll just do a quick, basic little introduction. My name's Caden. This is Dayton.
I'm Dayton.
We're with KZUU 90.7FM, and we're sitting down
sir.
with Oblé Reed. Don't forget the accent.
Don't ever forget the accent, or I'll cry in front of you, and it'll be really uncomfortable.
Well, like, how have you been? I know that the past year's been honestly fucking insane. You have been all over. Like, I feel like you've blown up over Seattle this past year, and not even just Seattle, everywhere.
Yeah, right. It's been crazy, man. I think I felt very blessed. You know, at the beginning of 2022, it was patience. That was our word, and you know, you can't ever go into something with expectations when you've never done it. You know. And so, you know, with the rollout of Linden Ave, it was just like whatever happens, happens, and this will be a foundation of everything that comes next. And for it to do what it did, I was like, dang, like kind of accelerated things really fastly, like really quickly. And yeah, man, I'm just feeling blessed, really busy, stressed, but in a way that like makes me feel like I'm making progress.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're always literally. I mean, I stay up to date with you on socials and. Go every week. It's like it seems like there's new projects going on or another city.
Yeah, bro. It's been cool traveling too. Like for the fact that music is taking me like across the country, bro. Like that's why we just got back from New York.
Yeah,
it's like, and it's wild because we were at an event and somebody came up to me at this event, random event, never been to New York before. They're like, bro, I love your music. I was like, bro, it's dark in here. How do you know? It's like, how could you know that was me? Right? Yeah, and that like experiences like that where I feel like I'm finding my people and connecting with people, it's just amazing, man. So,
yeah, that's awesome. Because you were out in New York for On the Radar, right? Yeah. Tell me about that. That must have been sick.
Crazy. It's crazy. It's one thing to like see it on YouTube, and then it's another to like be there, and it's like in the middle of nowhere, dog.
Oh, really?
Bro, like you would think it's like this big like whole thing. It's like you go into this random building and then you go up the stairs and then they got the whole green room set up and studio type stuff. And so it's like it puts things into perspective. You know, it's like people just making it happen. And I think that was probably the most inspiring thing about that whole trip is like connecting with these people that I look up to and realizing that it's all accessible and like I can also do it too, right?
No, you are doing it.
Yeah, currently.
Because like I know you are very vocal about being like motivated in what you're doing and just other people and their goals and your goals. What has been like the biggest thing to like help keep you on track over the past couple of years?
Honestly, finding balance.
Yeah,
like in work and life. Like as much as this is my passion, like it's also sides of it that are a job and a career, right? And like I'm trying to make this my life, and so finding areas where I can create for me, and because like it's a creative outlet, right? And as much as I want the music to be successful, it's also like an extension of me, and I don't want to feel like it's a task or a chore to go into the studio and make something, which is like a solid period of time where it felt like that. And so I took 6 months off, didn't do anything. Like deleted my social media, took a pause, and found myself again. And like mental health is so important that finding that like work-life balance has been able to save the burnout, extend this career. I mean, we're trying to do this for 30 plus years, right? And so if I just go all the time, work, then it's like 2 years, 3 years from now, I'm gonna be like, what if I never did this ever? So yeah, that's probably what's helped me stay on track the most.
that's right. I like that a lot.
Would you say that the possibility of kind of burning out creatively is one of the bigger obstacles you face in your career, or is there any other obstacles?
I think there's obviously like a lot of obstacles, but I think for me, I care about the art first and foremost. And so the biggest obstacle I think is that burnout. Like you said, like I don't want to get to a point where I don't want to do this.
Right.
And I find myself in moments starting to feel like that. And so taking a step back and being like, hey man, chill for like a second and take your time. I think there's also other obstacles like, access. I'm out of Seattle, and so we don't necessarily have the infrastructure to like a pipeline to see artists, blow up or whatever. And we're building that in team, and with panels and education and networking nights. And I'm at every show. I'm not afraid to be front row at an artist that I like, right? Like, we're trying to build the local community.
Absolutely, show support and just be there. And like, as somebody who grew up in Seattle, like, it kind of led me into one of the bigger questions I just wanted to talk about, because it's a lot different now. Like, the Seattle music scene has seen a lot of evolution and change. Yeah. And I think one thing, I mean, I always see you commenting on Dub C, or you're the Post, and you're very vocal about the Seattle music scene. What's your just overall opinions on it the past couple of years? Because it has changed a lot.
Yeah, I think the cliques are starting to break up.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are starting to realize the value of building community and starting to forget the idea of limited success. I think that a big issue, and the reason that people were clicking up, is because they saw it as, if one person is succeeding, that's less success for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're in the age of the internet, bro. We have TikTok. Like, you could blow up tomorrow, bro. Yeah. You could blow up today. Like, don't be afraid to show support to somebody else because your ego is so big that you want to play Hollywood, bro. Like, you're not, bro. Like, maybe you're neighborhood famous. That's cool. You go to the gas station and they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, if we really want to build something and you really want to see your friends succeed, you want to see the city succeed as a whole, then we got to be a community. And, it's just, I love the city, and I feel like we're on the brink of doing something amazing. And I just want to have my hand in as much of that history as I can.
Yeah.
And I want to get to a point where I can be that point of, let me lift you up. You are ready as an artist. You have all the pieces. Let me connect you to da-da-da, and that, that's going to come with time. But,
oh, absolutely. Because, I mean, I feel like you've already had such an influence with the artists and musician stuff out there, meanings of your songs. Because it's not like you're just dropping songs that are just sound good or blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a lot of meaning and depth to your music, I feel like. And I felt like your most recent single, Circle Theory.
Got 3 eyes open, third eye see through the haze on occasion. Cars to the chest and I seen through their faces. It's all black, everything, all black, everything.
Part of me could have been a better friend. I guess. Like, part of me, could I get another hand?
That was a really cool listen. I remember I joined your live right when you released it, and I was listening at the same time, and I was like, this, I don't know, something about that song just really resonated with me.
Wow.
What was the process of that song for you?
The craziest part is I went through writer's block for mad long after Linden Ave, because it's like, when something that you do does well, it's like, what do you do next, right? Because now you have expectations.
Yeah, how do I follow this up?
Exactly. Now you have pressure, whereas before it's like, I could take 3 years to make a project, but now it's like, I got to be on go mode, right? And so I think there was a dark period, end of the year going into winter was so rough. It was so rough, and I couldn't write anything. I couldn't create. And then my boy Evergreen sent me the beat for it, and it was the first moment. I was just sitting in the car. I typically just freestyle melodies over a beat, and I did something that I felt like, I could be proud of this. I feel like I'll make something. So that was the first track that I made after mad long not writing anything. And
How'd that feel?
bro, it felt like relief. That's what it felt like. It felt like weight off my shoulders, and I went back into a mode where I was creating for myself and putting all the expectations, all the pressure of the eyes that I have now to the wayside. And I mean, the song Circle Theory is about my people and why I choose certain people to be around. And not only is that my direct circle, but that's also everybody who hears my music. I say it all the time, but growing up, I didn't feel like I had my people. And now through this music and me expressing myself, I find more like-minded people, more people that, can have a shared experience with me, and I feel like I can connect with. And I mean, that's why at all my shows, I make people take 15 seconds to meet the person next to them, because that person you could probably relate to that person in some sense. It also breaks up the anxiety of like I don't want to
It's
turn.
an icebreaker.
Yeah, you know, it's like I don't want to turn up because what if they think I'm weird, you know? And it's like no, we're all here together. Like
Yeah.
let's just have this moment and be in the moment. So circle theory, it meant a lot, and I think over the course of the year, you know, it was just building this family, finding friends in crazy places, and now I had a track that reflected on all of that, and
I
the
respect
ups and
it.
downs.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's the ups and downs, right? Because like, I mean, the hook, it's like could have been a better friend, right? And it's like I find myself trying to fit everybody in while also focusing on my own self-care, and that's a lot of energy. Like it's a lot of energy to expend, and I don't know, just navigating that has been not treacherous, but it's been roller coaster, you know. And it's a beautiful thing to have moments like this where a year later we're sitting here and having a conversation about when I was nobody, just
The growth that the years had for you has been insane. That's actually really cool. I didn't think about it in like the sense of us sitting down, this whole circle theory and everything.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like I was just talking to the team, and I'm like, Treefort always feels like a time of reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, the day that I played the Reef and had that moment that was so special, Dance Party started to climb.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, I got to reflect on the last 12 months of me building this project, and now I have music out and people are seeing me for me. And now we're back. We're at Treefort Part 2,
Mm-hmm.
and we're reflecting on everything. And I have friends now. I have y'all. I have people that I know now who I didn't know last year that I can just be like, oh my gosh, what's up? People that I look up to is like, that's the homie now.
Yeah.
And
How long it is?
Are you thinking about coming back again in the
always,
future?
bro.
Awesome.
Like this is PNW personified. This is where PNW artists get their shine.
Yes.
And Treefort's growing every year, and the artists are growing with it. And not only is it a time of reflection for me at this event, but it's for the scene as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And the eyes are starting to turn to us, and we're ready.
Yeah.
And we have events like this, and we have artists that are doing it, and that people can get behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the community is buying in, and now the world is buying in. So I mean, Treefort's amazing. If you're not here next year, you can be included.
How involved in like the Seattle, like obviously you're involved in the Seattle music scene, but like outside of that, like are you big into the sports world and stuff out there?
Sounders. That's
Sounders?
my team.
Okay.
That's my team right there. Shout out to Sounders. And it's crazy because like I like sports in general. I was an athlete growing up. I ran track from second grade to college. I ran in college.
Wow.
And so I've always been around sports, and it's crazy to be able to get like involved with the teams. Like we played MLB All-Star Weekend and headlined one of the stages there, and then the Seahawks used Hometown Hero and one of their videos for
That was
Defensive
so
Rookie
cool.
of the Year, like nominee and yeah, now it's the Sounders.
Yeah.
That's the team I watch the most.
That's fair.
Sounders. You see this? I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
I want to ask a little bit. I know we're kind of just rambling, but I want to ask a little bit. Like, what's it been like working with your team, specifically like Nash and Riker? Like, I feel like you three are just kind of like this power trio, and
Yeah.
I mean the videos, the content, everything you guys are all putting out, it's phenomenal. Like the direction that you guys are taking everything. What, like, do you guys have just meetings where you're like, all right, guys, this is
All the time. Bro.
Yeah.
Literally every single day, we're having meetings about what's next. And, whether that's a conversation of, okay, these are the steps we got to do next, or it's like we're killing it, guys. We're doing the thing.
Yeah.
That's just as important.
Right.
Recognize when you're doing well.
Right. And it's like you can keep your head down and grind it out. But if you don't take a second to look up and like enjoy the view, like this is the part that the artists who are at the very top miss.
Yeah.
They're like, dang, I wish I could be back doing like on that journey. And I mean, all of us came together so naturally. I mean, I'm gonna take a second to tell this story.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to hear it.
Because this is crazy. I started working with Nash first, and this is back the beginning of COVID. he was part of a media duo called Sleepy Records, and they were shooting music videos. And when COVID happened, they did like an online cipher type thing. So like they had a producer send a beat and everybody rapped over the same beat. And then it was like a voting system, right? And so the prize was a free music video from them. And they had so many artists join from all over the West Coast, like even inland a little bit. And it was crazy because I was already doing like a little freestyle series, and his partner hit me up and was like, yo, like it'd be cool if you join this and like just submitted something. So I was like, all right, I'm already doing this, so I'll submit it. And I ended up winning. Wow. And Nash lived 3 minutes away from me. 3 minutes away.
Damn.
And like that's the type of thing, like you can't fake that. That's the universe being like, nah, this is gonna happen no matter what. So we might as well start now, you know? And so we shot that first video. It's for a song called Coffee. Don't look it up. Just let that one rock. But yeah, so then that happened, and we were trying to figure out ways to work more, and it was kind of sporadic, but we always kept in touch. And when COVID happened, I also took all the studios were closed. So I gutted out this tree house that I built with my dad when I was 10. Gutted it out, rebuilt it into a studio. I was putting up I was doing things I had never done ever before. Putting up walls in there, using power tools I've never touched. But we got like internet, electricity. We did the whole thing. And I taught myself how to audio engineer because I knew that the next year I wanted to work at a studio and get in the mix that way.
And was this, you said 2020, right?
This is 2020.
Okay.
And so then I got showed up. Someone invited me to a studio and was like, you should come walk through and like see if you'd like want to record here. I was like, okay, cool. It was one of the engineers. And I get to the studio, and my tutor from junior year of high school owns the studio. And back then, I was telling him about how I wanted to do music, and he was telling me about how he wanted to own a studio. And then fast forward, he owns a studio. Somebody invites me. So then we meet at the studio. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Dude, that's the circle theory.
Bro, that's real life, bro. Yeah. And so then I was like, hey, man, I'm looking to work at a studio. Like, if you ever have an opening, like, let me know. He's like, hey, we're looking for an intern right now. Like, be an intern here. I was an intern for 3 days, and then he hired me.
What's the studio name?
Fibonacci Production Studios. Okay. That's gonna be a legendary spot. Like when it comes down to like the history of Seattle music, that's gonna be one of those ones. And so then I started working there, and then me and the owner had the idea for open sessions. So every Friday we would invite people, any artist, any creative. They could record. We'd go from like 5 p.m. to like 3 a.m. And we had a lobby space where clothing brands would show up, videographers, photographers, and we would just like, it was just community. And it was cool. Every Friday, and it was something that I looked forward to. And so Riker was in town with 2 of her artists. There was a show, and she came through to the studio, and everybody's like, oh, she's a big manager. She's a big manager. Like, oh, you should introduce yourself. Yep. I was like, okay. I was mad shy back then. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't say anything the whole night.
Just sat there.
And she was getting ready to leave. And I was like, oh, what if we do show and tell? Like, oh, we could do a show and tell. We always do it. You know, like you should just stay and like listen to music. And she was like, all right. So the only song that I had then was Black Kids, or the only song I was showing anybody. So I had Black Kids. I played it every Friday. Anybody who showed up consistently, like, oh my gosh, here he goes again.
This shit again, bro.
No, literally. Yeah. And so then I played it, and she like looks over at the homie, and they like share this look. And then she looks back at me. The song is done. It's silent in the room. No one is saying anything. I'm just standing at the front of the room like, yup. And she looks at me and goes, play another one. No compliment or nothing. I was like, I have nothing else. I was like scrolling through the file. Yeah. I played this other record, and she like gives me a business card. It's like, let's be Instagram friends. And I then was working overnight at this job, and I spent the entire night watching interviews of her that she had done.
Mhm.
Took notes on the whole thing and then sent her an email that was like, hey, I'd love to buy you lunch and pick your brain. I've been watching your interviews. This is the stuff that I learned. So then I bought her lunch. It was supposed to be a 30-minute meeting. It ended up being like 3 hours. The waiter kept coming over and being like, are you guys okay? I was like, yeah, we're fine. And then we started working, and I was in their developmentee program for a year, and the rest is history, man. And like, when it comes organically like that, it never feels forced.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's family to me.
That's awesome.
Always. And so
I love that.
we've just been building, and it's cool to like Ivory, my DJ. He is my best friend
Mm-hmm.
from high school. Like, I had to transfer schools in the middle of my senior year to a new school, and I was having some issues at my other school, and so when I transferred, people were, hearing about that and got a lot of like prejudice and judgment. But he was the first person who didn't care about any of that. Like, I was sitting in class, and he just sat down next to me, and we just started chopping it up, and he was like the one person I was hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
And then, fast forward, now we're doing this thing together, going on tour and making it happen. Like, it's crazy.
It's literally like most of every kid's dreams. I feel like that, like just
Literally.
chopping up, doing that work with your best friend. That's amazing.
And so it's just been a beautiful thing, man. And this team is so strong. And I truly believe that it's impossible for us to fail. Like, no matter what, it might take a long time, but every day we're getting closer. So it's just been cool. That was a really long story. I got to the end and I was like, dang, I'm talking.
That's a great story, though. I love it.
Yeah.
Especially, like, dude, Nash being...
We're back.
All right, we're back. So if you could play one of your songs for the entire world to hear at the same time,
That's a crazy question.
which
Whoa.
one would you do?
Wow.
Concert for the world.
Concert for the world. Man, I don't know. I got a couple of choices for different reasons. MP3 is my favorite song off of Linden Ave. It also is reflective of like imposter syndrome and me feeling like even after all of this music that I made, all of the positive feedback that I've received, like, is it good enough?
Yeah.
Right? And it comes down to, is it good enough for me? And I think that a lot of people can relate to that.
Definitely.
And so, like, I mean, if that's a message that I'm trying to send forever, and it's like, not only is it self-care, but it's also, self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one song. I think Black Kids would be dope because I made that by myself in a treehouse, and it means so much to me. It was the oldest song on the project. It's been like 4 years now since I made that song, and it just, it's my experience, and to give hope and spread the message that it's like we are more, as a POC, we are more than our struggles. We're more than our trauma. So, like, let's take a second to celebrate that, and whether, and it doesn't have to be just, the song is focused around my experience, so it's called Black Kids, right? But that's for everybody, right? Like, we're bigger than our struggles. And I think it's easy to trauma dump. It's easy to get locked in on that because, like, some part of it feels good, Some part of it's like, get it off my chest. Like, dang, I've struggled so much and I'm still here, right? But also it's like, what about all the things you've done?
Yeah.
What's
And
that?
so, yeah, those are two that mean a lot to me. And I mean, one that'd be fun to perform is Push 'Em. Like, if we're talking about a concert, right? I had my first mosh pit when I opened for Mick Jenkins like a week ago,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is the vibe
Can we
always.
expect that tonight?
Hey, if you guys are starting the mosh pit, man,
Yeah, we'll do it.
say less. Then it's up.
These guys love mosh pits.
Say less. We punching people in the face. Is that what's happening? Self-care and beating up each other? Yeah.
It's all in love.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
love, man.
Yeah, man. Right on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's about all the main questions we have. Thank you so much again for sitting down, dude. This has been
course.
phenomenal. It's always great catching up with you and chatting.
Yeah. Oh, it's so dope. And I appreciate y'all inviting me back. This is Oblé Reed. You're rocking with KZUU 90.7. Stop playing. Cool.